when we've recognized something that needs our attention, and we have to be willing to fight through the uncomfortableness of it. And one of my, I guess, key phrases that is becoming popular is we have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and uncomfortable with being comfortable, right? So everyone is uncomfortable right now. It's hot, it's sweltering. I thought I came out in light clothes, not. But this is a worthy cause. This is one of the most pivotal moments in our country. We have to fight for our rights. This is no time to lay down. This is no time to be quiet. The Bible says there's a time for love and a time to hate, right? A time to pluck up and a time to root, right? A time for war and a time for peace. A time to speak and a time to stay silent. This is no time to stay silent. This is a time to speak up. This is a time, they have declared war. So now we have to repel what is an unjust government. We have to resist, right? The federal government is overreaching into our families, into our churches, and into our personal self-governance. And that is unacceptable. All authority is delegated from God. All of it. It is through scriptures. And any time that one area of government overreaches into another area of government, that is tyranny. No way to put it. There's no other way to say it. And so we have to inform ourselves. We have to arm ourselves. An armed citizenry has the power and has the authority to resist government. But that arming at this point in time is a number of ways. I'm not going to touch one of the ways. I'll leave that to someone else. But I know one of the ways is arming ourselves with information, our rights, the Constitution of the United States, the constitutions of the states that we live in, the individual states that we live in. We have to arm ourselves, and we have to get out of our comfort zones, give up our pleasures of life for this little bit of time, because if we don't give it up now, we're going to lose it anyway. We're going to lose it.
What are the implications of a health passport? That seems to be the big news right now. What are the implications for New York City to have a health passport, the country, and the world? What could that mean?
In my brain, it goes back to slavery. It goes back to the Third Reich. It goes back to years past where Jews were identified as dirty, right? Blacks were identified as filthy, as problems, and it was okay, right? Christians were okay to be persecuted. We cannot allow that. We cannot allow that. You're going to walk around with a passport that says that I am worthy to be in an establishment. I am worthy to get food. How dare?
Insidious.
How dare any level of government? All government leaders are subject to the law. All of them. No one is immune to that. And we have a God-given right, and we have an obligation to step between an unjust government and its laws, and to defend the citizenry, and to defend ourselves. And that is what we're doing. And that right is given to us by the 10th Amendment of the United States. And so we have to dig into that Constitution, that Bill of Rights, learn it. Like the Bible says, study to show yourself approved, a workman, rightly dividing the word of truth. That's not just scriptures. That's also the laws that we are governed by. That's also the things that are going on in our neighborhoods, because through that we arm ourselves and we can resist and we can stand against the unjust.
What do you attribute the cognitive dissonance that the citizens are having? Why is there's a bit of a slow reach? I mean, myself, I've been out on the streets for over a year now. People are just coming out of the woodworks. Why are people so reluctant to it? Is it the indoctrination? Is it culture? Is it media?
Absolutely. There's a study that shows, a psychological study that was done years ago. I can't quote the doctor right now, but that was showed that if you make one negative statement to a person, it takes 17 times for a statement to refute that, for it to sink in, right? For that to reverse the damage that negative statement has done. So you think about it, 24 hours a day since last year, they have been talking about nothing but COVID. I said today, in jest, that COVID has got to be the greatest thing that's ever happened to this country, because clearly it has solved every other illness that ever existed.
Isn't that something?
No one is dying from anything else. No other diseases, no other sicknesses, illnesses exist other than COVID. And so, it's just interesting. But the cognitive dissonance, they are using fear and hysteria to drive what's happening right now, to drive this nefarious agenda. And we have to wake up and we have to realize what's going on. Turn off the televisions, because the television, CNN, Fox News, all of them, New York Times, all of them have been co-opted. All of them. Now, unfortunately, journalism has gone to hell. Unless you're listening to an independent source and doing your own research, you're not getting the true information. And so we have to turn off our televisions because it is like brainwashing. That's what's happening. And then when you have political leaders getting on TV, making these irresponsible statements that this is the virus of the unvaccinated, they're trying to pit the public against each other, and they're trying to start a war amongst members of the community. So when I speak to people, I don't berate a person who has chosen to get the vaccine because they have chosen to get it, right? But don't berate me for choosing not to get it. We have to come together and create an army of one, because this is bigger than just a vaccine. This is about our rights, and this is about our life. This is about our lives. So whether you agree with the vaccine or not is one thing, but I'm sure we all agree that we are due and we have inalienable rights in this country just by factor of being human. Before you get to the religious rights, before you get to the medical rights, before you get to we as human beings have been given rights or given to us by our God, and no one has the right or authority to usurp that. No one.
Perfect. And what are you seeing in your legal practice? I mean, you must be inundated with what is happening as of late. I mean, our people obviously are resisting, they're rebelling. We know that compliance is not a virtue. It's critical to question everything. What are you seeing in your legal practice, in your civil rights legal practice?
That's a big question. The calls are coming left, right, and center. Yeah. The calls are coming. People are trying to figure out what to do. People are trying to figure out what's the recourse. You know, if they can. I say it's time for the great walkout. It's time. We have to show this country and our leaders who they work for. We the people. Right. They work for us. We're the government. Right. And so they have to answer to us. And that's simple it. Right. So there are recourses. Some people are just they're gonna have to get uncomfortable. Sometimes some people may have to get terminated, right? They may have to put you out of school. Leave the schools. If they're not recognizing your rights, leave. There are schools out there that are not requiring vaccines and that are not even requiring masks and not requiring testing. You just have to do
the research.
Do the research. Do the research. Find it, because they're there. You know what I mean? And there are employers. There are people that are willing to take on, workers and they're not requiring the vaccine. But we have to get uncomfortable. We have to. Americans have gotten so spoiled. We are spoiled, and we have to let go of that, because if not, our country is going to become something that we're not going to recognize.
Thank you for your time. I'm with the extraordinary Tricia Lindsay.